The clinic smelled like antiseptic and burnt coffee, a thin, nervous line of patients pressed against the walls. Denise Carter stood near the reception desk, her daughter Maya half asleep against her shoulder, one small sneaker tapping her hip. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, too bright, too loud for a place meant to heal. She had been waiting 47 minutes. When the police officer entered, his boots announced him before his voice did. Heavy, deliberate. He scanned the room like he was searching for a threat, not sick children and tired parents. His eyes landed on Denise and stayed there. "Ma'am," he said, already annoyed. "What's your business here?" Denise straightened. "My daughter has an appointment. Pediatrics." We checked in. The officer looked at the clipboard in her hand, then at her clothes. Simple jeans, a faded cardigan, worn flats. His mouth tightened. "You people keep clogging up this place," he muttered, loud enough for the room to hear. "Free clinics aren't shelters." A few heads dropped. A nurse froze behind the desk. Maya stirred, her fingers gripping Denise's collar. Denise felt the heat rise behind her eyes. She kept her voice steady. "This clinic is open to everyone." The officer stepped closer. Too close. His radio crackled between them like a threat. "You don't get to tell me how things work," he said. Then, quieter, sharper, the words slicing clean. "Know your place." Silence swallowed the room. Denise looked past him, to the clinic logo on the wall, to the mission statement she herself had once approved, to the lie unfolding in real time. Outside, a news van pulled up, its engine idling. Inside, the officer reached for his cuffs. And Denise realized this wasn't just harassment. It was a test of how much humiliation she was expected to carry without breaking. Denise Carter adjusted Maya higher on her hip and shifted her weight, the vinyl chair pressing cold against the backs of her legs. The waiting room hummed with low voices, coughing, the distant beep of a blood pressure monitor. A daytime talk show flickered on mute above the reception desk, captions crawling like ants. "Mommy," Maya whispered, already bored. "I know," Denise said softly. "Just a little longer." The receptionist avoided her eyes. Denise noticed that too. She noticed everything. The way people leaned away without meaning to. The way patients thinned faster for some than others. The door opened hard. Boots first, then the rest of him. Officer Mark Harlan filled the doorway like he owned it, radio clipped high, hand resting near his belt. He didn't smile. He scanned. When his eyes locked on Denise, something settled in his expression. He walked straight toward her. "You," he said. "Stand up." Denise blinked. "Excuse me? What's your reason for being here?" Harlan asked. His voice carried. A few people looked up. A nurse froze mid-step. Denise stood slowly, Maya tightening her grip. "My daughter has an appointment." Harlan looked at Maya, then back at Denise. "Insurance?" "Yes." He waited. "Then why the free clinic?" Denise felt heat crawl up her neck. "Because this clinic provides pediatric care. We qualify." Harlan snorted. "That's not what I asked." A man across the room stared at his phone. A woman pulled her son closer. "I'm not doing anything wrong," Denise said. Calm, controlled. "If there's an issue, you can speak to the front desk." Harlan stepped closer. Too close. She could smell coffee on his breath. "I decide what's an issue," he said. "And I don't like loitering." Maya whimpered. Denise shifted her, heart pounding once hard. "We checked in," Denise said. "You can confirm." The receptionist finally spoke. "She has an appointment." Harlan didn't look at her. "I'm talking to her." Denise met his eyes. "Please lower your voice." That did it. Harlan's jaw tightened. "You don't tell me what to do." People were watching now. Not helping. Watching. "This is harassment," Denise said quietly. Harlan laughed once. "Sharp. You people love that word." A nurse whispered, "Officer." He raised a hand. "Stay out of it." Denise felt Maya trembling. She swallowed. "I want your badge number," Denise said. Silence snapped. Harlan stared at her, then reached for his radio. "Dispatch," he said, eyes never leaving hers. "I've got a disruptive individual. refusing to comply. Denise's stomach dropped. "I'm not refusing anything," she said. "I'm waiting for my child's doctor." Harlan tilted his head. Last warning. The cuffs gleamed at his side. And Denise understood something then, clear and terrible. This wasn't about order. It was about reminding her how small he thought she was allowed to be. The complaint form was 4 pages long and somehow still managed to say nothing. Denise sat at her kitchen table after Maya fell asleep, the apartment quiet except for the refrigerator's low hum. She read the first question again. Describe the incident. The words felt too small for what had happened. She began anyway. At the clinic, Officer Mark Harlan stood near the doorway with his arms crossed while Denise spoke to the administrator, a woman named Karen Blake, with a practiced smile and careful eyes. "We take all concerns seriously," Karen said, "but officers are often under stress." "I was under stress," Denise replied. "My child was terrified." Karen nodded without committing. "Did he touch you?" "He threatened me." Karen typed. Paused. "Did he use physical force?" "No." Another pause. That can make these situations difficult. Difficult for who? Denise wanted to ask, but didn't. Karen slid a clipboard across the desk. "You can submit a formal complaint with the department. This is their process." Denise looked down at the papers. "And the clinic?" Karen folded her hands. "We'll review our internal procedures." That was it. Review. Procedure. Words like padded walls. At home, Denise wrote until her wrist ached. She described the boots, the radio, the way the room went quiet. She quoted him exactly once. She didn't want to give his voice more space than necessary. The next day, a voicemail waited for her during lunch. "Ms. Carter," a man said briskly, "this is Sergeant Paul Reeves, Internal Affairs. We received a report involving an incident at Eastbrook Clinic. Please return my call." Denise called back immediately. Reeves' tone was neutral, clipped. "Officer Harlan reported that you became verbally aggressive." Denise closed her eyes. "That's not true." "He stated you refused to comply with lawful instructions." "What instructions?" Denise asked. "To leave?" "To lower your voice." "I was calm." Reeves exhaled. "These cases often come down to perspective." "Perspective doesn't change facts," Denise said. "There were witnesses. We'll review available evidence." "Is there body camera footage?" A pause. The officer was responding to a low-priority call. "Camera activation is discretionary." Discretionary. Another shield. That evening, Denise received an email from a clinic's legal department thanking her for bringing concerns to their attention and reminding her of the clinic's commitment to safety. It ended with a line about cooperation with law enforcement. She laughed once. Bitter. Short. The following week, she returned to the clinic for Maya's rescheduled appointment. A security guard stood at the entrance now. He didn't look at her. Inside, conversations dropped when she walked by. A nurse she recognized gave a small, apologetic smile and looked away. During the appointment, Maya asked, "Is a policeman mad at you?" Denise smoothed her daughter's hair. "No, baby," but she wasn't sure. 2 days later, another call, this time from Officer Harlan himself. "I hear you're making trouble," he said, casual as a neighbor. Denise felt her pulse jump. "You shouldn't be calling me." "I'm just clearing things up," Harlan replied. "These complaints can backfire." "Is that a threat?" A chuckle. "Advice." She hung up, handshaking. That night, she found the incident report online. Harlan's version painted her as volatile, disruptive, uncooperative. He used phrases like non-compliant demeanor and raised voice. He noted the presence of a child as if it were a complication she'd chosen. Denise forwarded the report to her lawyer. "Yes," the lawyer said later, voice steady. "This is standard." Standard to lie? Standard to protect themselves. The city responded 3 weeks later. The letter thanked her for her patience and concluded that the officer acted within policy. No further action. Denise folded the letter carefully and placed it in a folder already thick with paperwork. At the clinic, a meeting was held without her. She learned about it from a nurse who whispered in the hallway. They're nervous. About what? Denise asked. The nurse hesitated. Funding. Denise didn't answer. She drove home slowly, city lights blurring. The system she believed in were closing ranks, paper shields locking into place. Each form, each policy, each neutral tone was a reminder. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a pattern, and patterns, once seen, were hard to unsee. She opened her laptop, stared at the folder labeled Foundation documents, and for the first time wondered what would happen if the walls protecting them didn't know who they were protecting themselves from. She didn't click anything yet, but the thought stayed. Denise noticed the patterns before she named them. It started with a woman in the clinic bathroom, washing her hands too hard. He did that to me too, the woman said without looking up. Denise paused. Who? The cop. The woman met her eyes in the mirror. Last year, said I was causing a scene because I asked how long the wait would be. Denise nodded slowly. Did you report it? The woman laughed, short and tired. What's the point? That question followed Denise home. She started listening differently. At pickup from school, in grocery lines, in whispered conversations that stopped when uniforms passed by. One evening, she attended a community health forum at a church basement. Folding chairs, weak coffee, a banner that read Your Voice Matters. After the meeting, a man approached her, late 50s, wore a security badge from a nearby warehouse. You're Denise Carter, right? He asked. Yes. I saw the post, he said. About the clinic. What post? Denise asked. He pulled out his phone. Someone had shared her complaint on a neighborhood forum. Names redacted, details intact. You're not alone, he said quietly. Within days, messages arrived. Emails, DMs, some cautious, some angry, some long and shaking. He called me agitated because I cried. They said I was loitering while waiting for my mother's prescription. Same officer. Denise printed them, spread them across her dining table. Different dates. Same language. One afternoon, a journalist called. Ms. Carter, this is Lena Morris with Channel 7. Denise closed her laptop. I didn't reach out. I know, Lena said, but people did. What do you want? Denise asked. To ask why complaints like yours disappear. Denise hesitated. This isn't about me. It never is, Lena replied. Until it is. They met at a cafe downtown. Lena was younger than Denise expected. Sharp eyes. Recorder on the table. Tell me about the clinic, Lena said. Denise exhaled. It's supposed to be a safe place. And wasn't. No. Why? Because authority walked in and everyone froze. Lena nodded. That happened a lot. Denise looked up. Then why does it change? Because fear is efficient, Lena said. That night, Denise called her sister. Am I overreacting? Denise asked. Her sister didn't pause. No, but if I push this. They already pushed you, her sister said. You're just standing still. At the clinic, tension thickened. Staff whispered. Meetings ended abruptly when Denise entered. A nurse pulled her aside. Administration wants to keep this quiet. Why? Denise asked. The nurse lowered her voice. They're worried about donors. Denise felt something click into place. She went home and opened the Foundation folder. Years ago, after her husband died, Denise had poured herself into work, quiet wealth, intentional giving. Healthcare access had been personal. She never put her name on buildings, never attended galas. She believed anonymity kept the focus where it belonged. Now she wondered if invisibility had made things easier for them. She called her lawyer. If I speak publicly, Denise asked, what happens? You become visible, the lawyer said. And visibility has consequences. Good or bad? Yes. The next day, Lena called again. I've got 3 other families, Lena said. Same officer, same clinic. Will you use my name? Denise asked. Only if you agree. Denise looked at Maya coloring on the floor. What about my daughter? We don't show children. Denise closed her eyes. Okay. The segment aired on a Thursday night. Footage of the clinic. Blurred faces. Denise's voice, steady, layered over images of waiting rooms and police cars. This wasn't an isolated incident, Denise said on screen. It was a pattern. The response was immediate. Support flooded in. So did threats. A voicemail played on repeat. You should have stayed quiet. Police issued a statement defending Officer Harlan's professionalism. The union called the report biased. At the clinic, administrators scrambled. Emergency meetings. Legal counsel. Budget projections pulled up on screens. Why is this happening now? Karen asked. No one answered. Denise sat at home, phone buzzing nonstop. Her lawyer called. They're nervous. Who? The clinic. About what? The lawyer hesitated. Money. Denise looked at the foundation documents again. For the first time, she understood the full shape of the pattern. It wasn't just harassment. It was protection. And protection always followed power. She shut the laptop, heart steady, and made a decision she could no longer delay. Some patterns only broke when the truth stopped being quiet. The meeting was called routine, which was how panic disguised itself. Clinic executives gathered around a polished table that reflected their faces back at them. Tight smiles, drawn brows, coffee cups untouched. A spreadsheet glowed on the screen at the far end of the room. This can't be right, Karen Blake said, pointing. Scroll back. The finance director did. The numbers didn't change. 82%, he said quietly. That's the percentage of our free care program funded through the Carter Health Access Foundation. Silence fell. Legal counsel cleared his throat. You're saying the woman from the incident? Yes, the director said. Denise Carter. Karen sank into her chair. Why didn't we know? You did, he replied. You just never asked who the foundation belonged to. She insisted on anonymity. Another executive muttered, Jesus. Across town, Officer Mark Harlan leaned back in his cruiser, scrolling through his phone. The news segment played again, muted this time. Denise's face blurred, her voice unmistakable. Still milking that, his partner said. Harlan smirked. She'll get tired. At the clinic, emails began flying. What's our exposure? Can funding be frozen? Do we issue a statement? Say nothing, legal counsel advised. Anything we say can be interpreted as retaliation. Karen rubbed her temples. If she pulls funding, we're crippled, the finance director said. Pediatrics, oncology referrals, prenatal, gone. Karen stood. I want options. There weren't many. Denise didn't know about the meeting until her lawyer called. They've connected the dots, he said. And Denise asked, and they're scared. Denise sat on the edge of Maya's bed, watching her daughter sleep. Good. Be careful, the lawyer warned. They may try to reconcile quietly. Quietly isn't accountability, Denise said. The next morning, Denise received an invitation to lunch from Karen Blake. We value our relationship and would love to talk. Denise read it twice, then forwarded it to her lawyer. At the restaurant, Karen arrived early, hands clasped too tightly around her water glass. Denise, she said, standing. Thank you for meeting me. You asked, Denise replied. Karen forced a smile. We had no idea who you were. That's the point, Denise said. You need to. Karen inhaled. We regret how the situation was handled. Which part? Denise asked. The harassment or the cover-up? Karen flushed. We followed procedure. Procedure protected him, Denise said. Not us. Karen leaned forward. We're prepared to review our security protocols. Too late, Denise said. Across the city, Harlan was called into his captain's office. Internal Affairs wants another interview, the captain said. Harlan frowned. About what? The clinic incident. You already cleared me. Things change. Harlan scoffed. Because of the news? Because of who she is. Harlan paused. Who? The captain studied him. You don't know? Know what? The captain slid a file across the desk. Denise Carter, major donor, funds most of Eastbrook's free services. Harlan laughed. That's a joke. It's not. Harlan's smile faded. So this just got complicated. At the clinic, staff whispered openly now. She pays for my patient's chemo, one nurse said. And we let him treat her like that? Another replied. Denise returned to the clinic that week, not for an appointment, but for a meeting with the board. They sat stiffly as she spoke. I didn't fund this clinic for recognition, Denise said. I funded it because healthcare shouldn't depend on zip codes. The board chair nodded. We understand. No, Denise said. You understand money. You didn't understand harm. She stood. I won't pull funding today. Relief rippled through the room. But I will, she continued, if nothing changes. At the police department, Harlan exited the building to flashing lights. Reporters shouted questions. Officer Harlan, did you harass a clinic donor? He shoved past them, jaw clenched. That night, Denise watched the news with Maya asleep beside her. Her name was no longer blurred. The anchor said it clearly. Denise Carter. She felt the weight of it settle in her chest. Power had finally learned who it had been pushing, and it didn't know yet what to do with the truth. The footage didn't surface all at once. It arrived in pieces, leaked and released, stitched together by journalists and attorneys who knew where to look. A security camera from the clinic hallway, a cell phone video shot from behind a potted plant, audio pulled from a police radio archive. None of it showed violence. All of it showed power. Lena Morris called Denise just after dawn. We have something. What kind of something? Denise asked, already awake. Visual. They met at the station. The screen flickered to life. Officer Harlan stood in the waiting room, posture rigid, voice elevated. Denise stood still, Maya clinging to her. The angle caught the nurse's face as Harlan spoke, the way she flinched and then looked away. Pause, Denise said. Lena froze the frame. That moment, Denise said, that's when everyone decided not to help. Lena nodded. That's what viewers see too. By noon, the clip was everywhere. Commentators argued. Experts analyzed tone. The police union released a statement emphasizing officer safety. This video lacks context, the union president said on air. What context makes that okay? The host asked. At home, Denise's phone rang constantly. A donor. We support you. A parent. Thank you. A blocked number. You're ruining a good man's career. Denise didn't answer. At the department, Officer Harlan sat across from Internal Affairs. Jaw tight. Why wasn't your body camera on? The investigator asked. It wasn't required, Harlan replied. You were engaging a civilian. She was disruptive. The investigator slid a tablet across the table. We have video. Harlan glanced at it, then away. That doesn't show the whole thing. What does it not show? The investigator asked. Harlan hesitated. Her attitude. Across town, the clinic board met again. We need to issue a statement, Karen said. Legal counsel shook his head. Anything we say can be used. We already look complicit, Karen snapped. A board member leaned forward. We were complicit. Silence followed. Denise met with her lawyer that afternoon. The department is shifting, he said. They're no longer dismissing. Why? Denise asked. Because this isn't just about racism, he replied. It's about evidence. On the evening news, the anchor spoke carefully. While no physical force was used, experts say the footage reveals a pattern of intimidation. Denise watched from her couch, Maya coloring beside her. Is that the man? Maya asked. Yes, Denise said. Is he in trouble? Denise considered. He's being asked questions. Maya nodded, satisfied. The next day, a press conference. Officer Harlan stood at the podium, flanked by union representatives. I acted within policy, he said. I regret if anyone felt uncomfortable. A reporter raised her hand. Why did you single her out? Harlan's eyes flicked. I didn't. Then why her? The reporter pressed. Harlan's jaw worked. I can't speak to hypotheticals. Behind the cameras, Denise stood with Lena. "Do you want to respond?" Lena asked. Denise shook her head. "Not yet." At the clinic, a new memo went out. Security protocols revised. De-escalation training announced. A nurse texted Denise. "It's because of you." Denise stared at the message. At the department, Internal Affairs requested another interview. Harlan's partner pulled him aside. "This is getting ugly." Harlan scoffed. "They're protecting themselves." "Not you," his partner said. That night, Denise attended a community meeting. The room was full. A man stood. "They always say it's policy." A woman added, "Policy never protects us." Denise took the microphone. "This isn't about one officer," she said. "It's about what we accept as normal." Applause rose, tentative at first, then steady. Later, alone, Denise watched the footage again. She noticed the small things now. The way Harlan's hand hovered. The way the room leaned away from her. Her lawyer called. "They're considering suspension." "For how long?" Denise asked. "Pending review." "Does he still have a badge?" "Yes." Denise closed her eyes. The next morning, a new clip surfaced. Audio this time. Harlan's voice clear. "You people love that word." The internet reacted instantly. By afternoon, the department issued a statement. "Officer Harlan has been placed on administrative leave." Denise read it twice. Administrative leave wasn't justice, but it wasn't nothing. That evening, Denise returned to the clinic alone. The waiting room was quieter. Different faces. A new security guard nodded at her. She sat where she had before. The same chair. The same lights. Only now, the walls seemed to be listening. Outside, cameras waited. Inside, Denise breathed. Evidence had a way of changing stories. And one scene, it refused to disappear. The interview room smelled like old coffee and disinfectant. Denise sat at the narrow table with her lawyer beside her, hands folded, spine straight. The mirror on the wall reflected nothing useful. She knew someone was watching. She welcomed it. Sergeant Reeves entered with a tablet and a thin folder. His tone was different now. "Careful. Thank you for coming in again, Miss Carter." "I didn't have a choice," Denise replied. "Reeves Saturday. This is a supplemental interview." "Because the first one failed," Denise said. Reeves didn't argue. "We're reviewing the footage." Denise nodded. "So am I." He tapped the tablet. "Let's walk through the encounter. When Officer Harlan approached you, what did you feel?" Denise exhaled. "Targeted." "That's subjective," Reeves said. "So is threatening demeanor," Denise replied. But it made it into his report. Reeves paused. "When he asked why you were at the clinic." "He wasn't asking," Denise said. "He was asserting." Reeves frowned slightly. "Explain." "Questions invite answers," Denise said. "Assertions demand submission." Her lawyer nodded once. Reeves moved on. "Did you raise your voice?" "No." "The audio shows his voice carrying," Denise said. "Mine doesn't." Reeves scrolled. "When you asked for his badge number." "That's when it escalated." "Why ask?" "Because power doesn't like being named," Denise said. Reeves looked up. "You're very articulate." Denise met his eyes. "I have to be." Across the building, Officer Harlan sat in a similar room, legs stretched, jaw set. "You felt threatened?" the investigator asked him. "Absolutely," Harlan said. She was confrontational. "By asking questions?" "By challenging authority." The investigator leaned forward. "Is authority fragile?" Harlan scoffed. "You're twisting this." "We're examining language," the investigator said. "Your language." Back in Denise's room, Reeves cleared his throat. "Did you feel discriminated against because of race?" Denise didn't hesitate. "Yes." Reeves nodded slowly. "Why?" "Because he spoke to me the way men like him always do," Denise said. "Like I was out of place. Like I was lying. Always." Reeves asked. "Pattern," Denise corrected. "Not exception." Reeves set the tablet down. "Officer Harlan claims he was responding to a disturbance. There was no disturbance until he arrived. Denise said, "Witnesses." Asked them why they were silent. Denise replied. The room went quiet. At the department, Harlan's union rep interrupted the questioning. "This is turning into a character attack." The rep said, "It's a conduct review," the investigator replied. Harlan leaned back. "So because she's rich." The investigator cut him off. "This isn't about money." Harlan laughed. "It always is." The investigator's voice hardened. "Then why did you mention it first?" Harlan stopped smiling. At the clinic, staff were interviewed one by one. "I didn't feel safe speaking up," the nurse said. He had a badge. "Did you think she was a threat?" the investigator asked. "No," the nurse replied. "She was a mother." Emails were subpoenaed. Meeting notes examined. Language parsed. At home, Denise waited. Her lawyer called that evening. "They're building case." "Against him?" Denise asked. "Yes." "For what?" "Conduct unbecoming. Abuse of authority." Denise closed her eyes. "Is that enough?" "It's something," the lawyer said. The next day, Denise testified before a civilian review board. Cameras were banned. The room felt heavier without them. A board member asked, "What do you want to see happen?" Denise thought carefully. "I want him to be accountable. And I want systems to stop pretending this is rare." Another member leaned forward. "Do you believe Officer Harlan is racist?" "I believe his power made room for racism," Denise said, "and no one stopped him." The board chair nodded. "Thank you." When Harlan testified, his voice was defensive. "I followed protocol." "Protocol didn't require humiliation," a member replied. Harlan snapped. "She provoked me." "By existing?" the member asked. Silence stretched. That night, Denise stood on her balcony, city lights blinking below. The process was slow, public, exposing. It was also exhausting. Maya stepped outside, rubbing her eyes. "Did you win?" Denise knelt. "Not yet." "Will you?" Denise hugged her. "I don't know." Inside, her phone buzzed. A message from her lawyer. "Preliminary finding recommends disciplinary action." Denise stared at the screen. Cross-examination didn't bring peace, but it stripped away lies. And once stripped, power had nothing left to hide behind. Justice did not arrive with applause. It came in envelopes, notifications, carefully worded statements that avoided responsibility while admitting enough to survive scrutiny. Denise learned this on a Tuesday morning, standing in her kitchen while coffee cooled untouched on the counter. Her lawyer's voice was steady. "The recommendation is suspension without pay, mandatory retraining, a formal reprimand on record." Denise closed her eyes. "Is that it?" "For the department," he said. "Yes." She let out a slow breath. "And the clinic?" "They've agreed to an independent review. Policy changes. Oversight." Denise leaned against the counter. "People keep calling this a win." "It is," the lawyer said. "Just not the kind people imagine." After the call, Denise sat in silence until Maya wandered in, dragging her backpack. Did the phone stop ringing? Maya asked. "For now," Denise said. At school drop-off, another parent hugged her without asking. A man nodded respectfully. A woman whispered, "Thank you." Denise smiled, but it felt borrowed. At the police department, Officer Harlan cleared out his locker under supervision. A few colleagues avoided eye contact. Others clapped him on the shoulder. "This is bullshit," one muttered. Harlan didn't respond. His face was tight, unreadable. Outside, a reporter called his name. "Do you regret your actions?" Harlan paused. Cameras clicked. "I regret how this was portrayed," he said. The clip ran that night. At the clinic, staff gathered for a mandatory meeting. An outside consultant spoke about bias, about listening, about rebuilding trust. A nurse raised her hand. "What happens if it happens again?" The consultant hesitated. "We respond better." It wasn't reassuring. Denise attended the meeting, sitting in the back. When it ended, Karen approached her. "I know this hasn't been easy," Karen said. "No," Denise replied. "It hasn't. We're grateful you didn't pull funding." Denise met her eyes. Don't confuse restraint with forgiveness. Karen nodded stiffly. The threat slowed but didn't stop. One email read, "You ruined a man's life." Another, "You should have stayed in your lane." Denise forwarded them to her lawyer and deleted them from her mind as best she could. At night, sleep came unevenly. She replayed the waiting room. The radio crackle. Maya's grip. Her sister called. "You sound tired." "I am." "Do you regret it?" Denise thought, "No, but I didn't know it would follow us home." Maya had started asking questions again. "Why do people yell your name on TV?" she asked one evening. "Because they're talking about something important." Denise said, "Is it bad?" "It was," Denise replied. "We're trying to make it better." Maya considered this. "Did you do something wrong?" Denise hugged her. "No." Across the city, Officer Harlan sat alone in his apartment, television on mute. His phone buzzed. A message from the union. "We did what we could." He tossed the phone aside. At the clinic, a new sign went up near the entrance. "This is a place of care and respect." Denise stopped in front of it one morning. A patient stood beside her. "Because of you," the woman said. Denise shook her head. "Because of all of us." Later that week, Denise spoke at a city council session. No cameras this time, just people. "I don't want your praise," she said. "I want systems that don't rely on courage to function." Some nodded, some looked away. Afterward, a council member approached her. "Change takes time." "So does harm," Denise replied. The foundation board called an emergency meeting. "We're concerned about risk," a member said. "Whose?" Denise asked. "Ours." Denise looked around the table. "If funding justice is risky, then we've misunderstood our mission." The room went quiet. That night, Denise sat on the balcony again, city lights steady below. She felt older, not broken, sharpened. Her phone buzzed with one last alert. Officer Mark Harlan has submitted his resignation. Denise stared at the screen. No headline, no speech, just a fact. She didn't feel relief or victory. She felt the weight of knowing that consequences, when they come, rarely heal the harm they answer for. Inside, Maya slept peacefully. Denise turned off her phone and stood in the quiet. Justice had come, incomplete and costly. And tomorrow, she would decide what it meant to keep going. The clinic reopened on a Monday that felt deliberately ordinary. No cameras, no police cruisers idling outside, just a low murmur of patients, the smell of disinfectant, the same fluorescent lights humming overhead. Eastbrook Community Clinic looked unchanged, which was the point and the problem. Denise stood across the street for a long moment before going in. Maya squeezed her hand. "Is this where it happened?" "Yes," Denise said. Maya nodded, thoughtful. "Okay." Inside, a new sign hung beside the mission statement. Bias Reporting Office, second floor. A phone number printed in bold. Denise noticed the way people paused to read it, as if deciding whether it was real. The receptionist looked up and smiled. Not the tight, practiced smile from before. A real one. "Good morning," she said. Denise returned it. "Good morning." They sat in the same waiting area. Different chair. Same angle of light. Denise felt her shoulders tense anyway. Trauma remembered faster than the mind. A nurse called Maya's name. Her voice was gentle. As they walked down the hallway, Denise caught snippets of conversation. Training schedules, policy briefings, oversight committees, the language of reform. Necessary, incomplete. After the appointment, Denise lingered near the bulletin board. Flyers announced free screenings, counseling hours, community meetings. The clinic was still doing what it had always done. A woman approached her quietly. Older, tired eyes. "I don't know how to thank you," the woman said. Denise shook her head. "You don't need to." "Yes, I do," the woman insisted. "Because when he yelled at me last year, I thought it was just me." Denise felt her throat tighten. "It wasn't." The woman nodded, eyes shining. "I know that now." Outside, Denise checked her phone. No alerts. No breaking news. The world had moved on, as it always did. At City Hall, a policy memo circulated quietly. Mandatory body camera activation inside medical facilities. Independent review triggers. Small changes, written without fanfare. At the police department, Officer Harlan's nameplate was removed from a desk and placed in storage. No ceremony, no statement, just absence. Denise learned about it from a short email. Resignation effective immediately. She stared at the words, waiting to feel something sharper. She didn't. That evening, Denise attended a clinic board meeting for the first time since everything happened. The room felt different, less assured, more careful. We want to acknowledge harm, the board chair said, and commit to transparency. Denise listened. When they finished, she spoke. I didn't fund this clinic to be thanked, she said. I funded it to exist without fear. The chair nodded. We failed you. Yes, Denise said. And others. Silence followed. Not defensive. Reflective. When the meeting ended, Karen approached. I'm leaving my position, Karen said quietly. Not because anyone asked me to. Denise studied her. Why? Because I confused stability with safety, Karen replied. And people paid for that. Denise nodded once. I hope the next person does better. At home, Denise filed away the last of the documents. Complaints, transcripts, letters. She placed the folder in a box and slid it onto a high shelf. Not forgotten, just no longer daily. Maya helped her cook dinner, humming softly. Are you done fixing it? Maya asked. Denise smiled. Fixing doesn't really end. Maya considered this. But it's better. Yes, Denise said. It's better. Later, Denise sat on the balcony as the city settled into night. The noise felt farther away now, less sharp. Her phone buzzed once. A message from Lena. Stories running its final follow-up tomorrow. Policy changes confirmed. Denise typed back. Thank you. She thought of the waiting room. The silence. The way power had assumed it would never be questioned. The clinic remained. So did the damage. So did the work. Denise looked out at the city, at the thousands of quiet systems holding people up or pressing them down. She understood now that justice wasn't a moment. It was maintenance. Inside, Maya slept, safe and unburdened by headlines. Denise turned off the light and went inside. Tomorrow, the clinic would open again. And this time, fewer people would walk through its doors believing humiliation was the price of care. That wasn't victory. But it was real, and it was enough to begin.